Staying with Washington, President Donald Trump has announced a 50-day ultimatum to end the war in Ukraine. It's backed by a bold two-part strategy. The U.S. will massively arm Ukraine via NATO, with Europe sending Patriot systems and even missiles replenished later by America. Now, Trump has also warned of 100% tariffs on any country still trading with Russia if a peace deal is not reached in that 50 days duration. Now, this means countries like India could also pay double if they keep buying Russian oil. Trump called the new weapon top of the line and said Putin should now think twice. Meanwhile, NATO chief Mark Rutte confirmed the plan, while Ukraine's President Zelensky has welcomed the support and has also vowed to, in fact, push for peace. But skeptics in Moscow, well, they called the move a bluff. Here's what Trump said.
Secondary tariffs are very, very powerful.
What about the tariffs that the Republicans in the House and the Senate have ready? Those were 500%. Sure. Why are you doing 100%?
Well, the Republicans are moving very strongly in the Senate, giving us total control of it. They've actually crafted a pretty good piece of legislation. It's probably going to pass very easily, and that includes Democrats. And there's some little tweaks, but I don't want to say I don't need it because I don't want them to waste their time. It could be very useful. We'll have to see. But we can do secondary. We're probably talking about 100% or something like that.
So can you clarify?
We can do secondary. We can do secondary tariffs without the Senate, without the House. But what they're crafting also could be very good.
Meanwhile, here's what Trump said, and followed by Mark Rutte, in fact. Listen in.
And we make the best equipment, the best missiles, the best of everything. The European nations know that. And we've made a deal today, and I'm going to have Mark speak about it, but we've made a deal today where we are going to be sending them weapons and they're going to be paying for them. The United States will not be having any payment made. We're not buying it, but we will manufacture it and they're going to be paying for it.
So what we will do is work through the NATO systems to make sure that we know what Ukrainians need, so that we can make packages. Of course, in a way, we discussed it this morning with Pete Hegseth at the Pentagon, in a way that, of course, the US will put on its stockpiles necessary to defend this country. That's absolutely clear. But it will mean that Ukraine can get its hands on really massive numbers of military equipment, both for air defense, but also missiles, ammunition, etc., etc.
Meanwhile, senior journalist Daniel Block joins us from Washington, D.C. Mr. Block, is this 50-day deadline which Trump is claiming a serious diplomatic lever or just another political theater with little to no follow-up, as we've been seeing ever since the 20th of January, in fact?
Well, with President Trump, it's always very hard to say. This is certainly not the first time that he's talked about getting tough on Putin and then when the rubber hit the road, backed away. That said, what seems different this time around is the specificity. So the plan that he and the NATO Secretary General have come to, the fact that there's now more concrete legislation in Congress, the fact that he's throwing out more specific numbers than he was before, all of that suggests that this is more serious than previously. He may now actually be changing his mind. That said, again, we've been down this road before, if not quite that far down this road. So until it happens, we can't be sure that it will.
He's talking about imposing 100% tariffs on Russian trade partners as well. Now, could these 100% tariffs also economically backfire on the US and its allies?
It's always hard to say exactly what the effects are going to be, especially because we don't know what the eventual number will wind up being. But one thing we've seen since the start of the war is that the United States and its allies, particularly its allies in Europe, have been willing to incur a degree of economic pain in service of helping Ukraine and in service of sanctioning Russia. So, various tariffs have led to higher energy prices, again, particularly on Europe. The United States is much more insulated from this to a certain extent. So could it have some negative economic repercussions for the United States and Europe? Sure. Is that a price that Europe has been willing to pay? So far, absolutely. Is that a price that the United States will be willing to pay? We'll see. My guess is yes, that is a price the United States will be willing to pay. And again, the United States is more insulated from sanctions against Russia than are its European allies.
A very quick yes or no last question here. How realistic is it that the massive US-NATO arms transfer can indeed shift the battlefield, and that too very quickly? Do you think that will happen, or that's unlikely to happen?
I think it could probably help stabilize the battlefield such that Russia's advances, which are already not all that speedy, slow down even more, and maybe it reaches a true stalemate where neither side is advancing. But who knows? This war has been full of surprises on the battlefield.
Of course, full of surprises indeed. Thank you so much for joining us there.